recently, Nerimon got to 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and the company that we're with, called Channel Flip, bought him a present. That present was this onesie. Obviously, Alex isn't going to wear a skeleton onesie. Clearly, I am. So essentially what happened is Alex Day got to 1 million subscribers and Channel Flip bought me a present. Enough about the onesie. Do you guys ever have those moments where you suddenly have a flashback of something stupid you did as a kid? And I mean like really, really stupid. And you mentally, emotionally and physically cringe. I've been having more and more of those recently. It's like now that I'm 21, my life has decided to cut together all of the stupid, embarrassing, hurtful things I did as a kid, make it into a trailer and then play it in my head at the most random moments. The highlights of Carrie the idiot. I've done some really stupid things in the past, and as a way to cleanse my contaminated conscience, I'm going to share a few with you now. So as we were growing up, we were about 13 or 14, there was this girl in my class who didn't smell great, and at first we were quite sensitive about it. We felt bad that she'd sort of been left behind in this part of growing up, and we didn't really want to say anything. None of us knew how to approach it, and as things spiraled downwards, she kind of got left out of a lot of things because of it. And it wasn't her fault, it was just part of growing up, but kids are cruel. So one day during lunchtime, I walk into my form room and there's a few of my friends sat there talking. But as I walked into the room, I've noticed that it smells really, really bad. What had actually happened was a drain pipe had burst outside the building we were in. Now these girls that were sat in the room thought I was a little bit weird. I spent my break times reading and not socialising, which they thought was odd. When they asked me to go shoe shopping with them, I didn't because I didn't enjoy it. And they were still my friends, but if that's the circle, I was sort of like here, teetering on the edge of it. So to try and make them laugh and to seem cooler and try and make them feel warmer to me, I decided to start making jokes about the fact the smell wasn't coming from the drains, but it was coming from this girl who wasn't actually in the room at the time. Except she was in the room, Carrie, wasn't she? She was sat right behind one of your friends and you couldn't see her at the angle you'd walked into the room. So you started making jokes that you knew you shouldn't be making like a total twonk, and you really hurt the feelings of this girl. And I only noticed that she was there when she stood up to walk out of the room, and I felt like the worst person in the world because I didn't mean it. If I had meant it, I wouldn't have felt bad, but I felt awful and I ran after her and I spent my lunchtime with her trying to make her feel better. But I was 13 and I learnt that lesson the hard way and I've never done it again. I don't know how old I was for this one. I think I must have been around 7 or 8, and my memory of the actual situation that it happened in is quite vague. But I think what happened is we have these family friends who are still our friends now, but they had a daughter the same age as my brother, and me and my brother went round to their house just to hang out. And their parents made us dinner and we all sat around their dinner table and we all had Ribena to drink. Now my brother has a habit of making me laugh at the most inappropriate moments, and that spans back to when we were children. So just as I'm taking a sip of Ribena, my brother decides to make me laugh and I spray that Ribena over my brother's friend, over my brother, over myself, and over their gorgeous, spotless, clean white tablecloth. My brother was less than impressed, and up until that moment I had never been more mortified. Just the image of that clean white tablecloth spotted with big blobs of Ribena and my spit. When I was in school, I read too much fiction, and I already had this idea in my head of this perfect Prince Charming who would whisk me off my feet and take me away into the sunset on his horse. So Valentine's Day was nearing, and through the post we got these cardboard cutouts of 2 roses, but they were made up of chilies. I think they were from Nando's. And the idea was that you kept one and you gave the other to your Valentine. So I cut them out, took them into school, and I left one on the desk of this boy that I quite fancied, and I wrote on the back of it, "Whoever you see today with this exact rose fancies you." And then I spent the whole day like holding it here, having my hand on my desk like that, but holding the rose there, sort of like in his direction, trying to make him see it. I was being the most unsubtle with it, like sort of waving it around and going "Ah," with it in my hand, like trying desperately to get him to notice it. And I think he did. He just ignored me. What an idiot. That's how most of my stories end, with me just thinking, what an idiot. If you guys have any awful cringeworthy stories from your childhood, please feel free to let me know in the comments so I don't feel as bad. It may not be the best idea to sit outside his flat, or chain yourself to his front door, or steal his dear old cat.